Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Kristian. Kristian is from England in the UK. So let's see what Kristian has to say. Enjoy the interview. Again, hello Kristian, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thanks so much for taking the time today for the interview.
That's all
Thank
right. You're
you.
welcome.
So tell me, how's your weekend going so far?
Yeah, good. I mean, I've been in the process of launching a business. So I launched a brand new business on Friday. So I've been
Okay.
sort of fulfilling orders and then reviewing the stats that have been coming through on the website, understanding do I need to tweak any of the language, like where people are at in sort of the checkout stage. And yeah, it's been a really exciting process. I had this sort of thought to start a business when I was in Bali. And it's been many months in conceptualizing and then designing the product. And then, yeah, I've got a new wellness beverage out. So really exciting, to be fair.
Amazing. So tell me a little bit more about this business that's just launched on Friday.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, in essence, I've always been someone that's been obsessed with wellness. So I had cancer at 23. I was diagnosed with a very rare cancer. Affects about 1 in 2 million people now. Yeah. So it's
Wow.
a very rare cancer. And I was given sort of 4 to 6 months to live without treatment. So very intense. The cells double every 8 hours. The professor told me that was sort of took care of me.
Wow.
And yeah, so I had to move into hospital, lost all my hair, had 4 months living in hospital, sort of 3 rounds of intensive chemotherapy. And obviously, when you're in that situation, you have a lot of time to think, how do I want to live differently? I suppose it's in that time I became quite spiritual as well, and sort of really made me look at life differently and how I would live differently if I came back for it. And luckily, I mean, the downside was I was diagnosed with one of the rarest cancers known to man. The upside was it just so happened by pure sort of, I suppose, universal intention, whatever you want to call it, that the world's expert for dealing with, or certainly Europe's expert and one of the world's experts for dealing with that specific type of cancer, just so happened to teach at my home city in Leicester's university. And he agreed to basically take control of my program. And obviously that meant I got all the healthcare for free on the NHS as well. So if I'd been in America, I mean, the treatment would have cost like $1 million or something. But
Wow.
actually having it in the UK, and just so happened that we didn't have to stay in expensive hotels, we didn't have to go anywhere else in the world or the UK to sort it out. Actually, I was able to just move to a hospital, which was like 15 minutes from my house. So, and thankfully, I'm obviously here. So the process worked. I got through it. I truly believe that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It was a real shock to have at 23. I was like,
Wow.
but part of my philosophy, I think part of sort of part of how I became spiritual, I guess, is that I really do believe that your thoughts sort of create things. And the
Yeah.
whole time, at no stage did I ever once think I'm going to die. Obviously, when I first got told the news, I thought I might die. But then as soon as I started on that process, I was like, no, this is going to work. It's not my time yet. And I just had that thought process the whole time that I'm no way I'm going to die, no way. And I think that helps. I think there's been studies that demonstrate it helps you. And if you go into it with the mindset of I'm definitely going to die, then it's not helpful to the process of sort of recovery and treatment. But yeah. But
Wow.
moving
My
on
God.
from that, the business, of course. So then I went traveling. So I'm jumping around the houses a bit here. But then I went to, so I went into a corporate setting for many years. And I was quite successful in that. I won, in my industry, I won like Young Leader of the Year. So I've done well in a sort of corporate setting.
Yeah.
But my passion was always wellness. And I think that although I had a lot of success in the corporate setting, and I know I could go back to it if I wanted to, when I took a gap to go traveling, I actually set myself a target. There's no way that I'm going to get to 40 and not go traveling. So at 39, despite having been 10 years with the same business, I sort of
Mhm.
negotiated my exit and I went to first to India. I lived in Goa. And then I went from there to travel around Thailand and then Vietnam, and then finally sort of settled in Bali for a while. And it was in Bali where I really living in Ubud, which I really like. It's a time that I had to sort of really conceptualize the business. And I just kept coming across this topic of polyphenols. Polyphenols are associated with longevity. So
Mhm.
they're things that you find in very high counts in things like red wine, dark chocolate, cacao, matcha, certain types of berries, pomegranate skin. And I was like, hang on a minute, why has no one ever made like, there's all these mushroom drinks around. Why has no one ever made like a wellness beverage centered around polyphenols? But I thought I also wanted to give it like a dual aspect to it. So I thought I also wanted it to make an energy kind of beverage as well. So I've actually got it here, if you don't mind me plugging it. So it's out now. You can go to www.feelgoodpollies.com or follow us on
Okay.
IG at feelgood.pollies. But yeah, I really like the packaging. So in essence, it's a coffee alternative. So maybe you don't get on particularly well with coffee. Maybe you don't like the taste of it, and you're looking for something to give you energy in the morning because this kind of works on a cellular level. But also, it's for people that maybe are a bit sensitive to caffeine, so they get the jitters because this is smooth energy. It's powered a different way, not from coffee, and it's packed full of feel-good polyphenols, which good for inflammation, good for your skin, elasticity, all sorts of things really. But do find out more on the website.
Amazing. I love your introduction. I love how confident and passionate you are about your business. And I think that's the way to be. I think when you work on something with passion, that's what happens. You just get very excited. And it's amazing. It's about helping others as well. People to have a better wellness, better life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, for me, that is part of the rationale for it. Is when I worked in a corporate setting, I was good at what I did, and I was recognised that by company awards and also by an industry award. But I couldn't help but think, yes, I'm working with these big corporations and I'm like supporting them in managing what they do. But at the
Hmm.
same extent, it was like, what am I, but if I was to pass away tomorrow, what would I say I did other than like help some corporations? Like, I want to be able to say, do you know what? I helped someone do something. I helped someone feel good. And that's why this beverage is aimed at so many different types of people. And I've really tried to think about the ingredients that are going into it to help lots of different people for lots of different circumstances. And I want to be able to build from that. I also wrote a book as well called The Feel Good Principles, which is
Hmm.
actually available as a free gift. It took me many months to write, but it's available as a free gift with the product. But in time, I really enjoyed that process and sort of built a whole philosophy sort of for feeling good in your life. Different principles, not just around nutrition, but of course around surrender and gratefulness and various other bits and pieces, principles that I stand by that have helped me sort of feel good. So I've got more interest certainly getting into writing more books as well. So I'm kind of like really enjoying this new stage in my life, to be fair.
Amazing. So tell me where you're from, Christian.
So I'm from Leicester in
Okay.
England. So if you stick a pin in England, you're pretty much like hit. If you right in the middle of England, you're pretty much hit Leicester.
And what's the biggest joy of living there in Leicester?
Where I live, sort of more of the villages, it's quiet. So, for example, when I lived in Bali, I absolutely loved the weather for the time I was there. It was fantastic weather and driving around on my scooter and being barefoot most of the day. But here you can't be barefoot most of the day in the UK, living in Leicester in winter. But what I will say is very quiet where I live. So I don't live in the city centre. I have in the past, but I actually live in the villages. And you know what? It's just nice to go out for a walk in the countryside and it's quiet. So in Bali there'll be lots of noise. It's hot, it's beautiful, but there's always people beeping their scooters or riding around on the motorbikes nearby. Whereas here it's quiet. When I go to bed at night, I don't hear so much. And I think if you're interested in meditation and presence and stuff like that, it's actually quite valuable to be here. Although, admittedly, we don't get as much sunshine as what I like as someone that really worships the sun.
Amazing. And of course, you're running a business, you're also writing books, you are a coach as well, wellness coach.
That's right, yeah. So more and more now, people have been approaching me and saying like they'd like to work with me in terms of me coaching them in terms of, I suppose part of the philosophy is for that is people say, how do you seem like you've got your life together, or how is it that you look in the shape that you do? I'll be
Hmm.
41 in April. So, a lot of people, I just kept getting the constant feedback like, you look very young for your age, or what are you doing? Like, how do you maintain abs in the winter? These sorts of things. So I was like, do you know what? I'm going to launch into that sort of space because it's kind of like everyone's always asking me anyway. So yeah, it's exciting. It's something I enjoy doing. It started off really with me just giving advice to people in the sauna at the gym, like asking questions. Oh, what do you eat? What do you do this? What do you do that? And then it was like, I'm going to write a book. And then it was like people starting to be interested in like having DMs and having conversations and me helping them. So that's kind of how I moved into that space.
Wow, amazing. Okay, Christian, so during the interview, I'm going to explore a bit more about your life and also about your journey, okay?
Of course, yeah.
Are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and
I
share
am
more?
indeed, yeah.
Amazing. Welcome to William in the Magic Box. So I
Okay.
have here a best friend. random fun questions. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to play a song just for us to relax before the first question, okay?
Okay.
Amazing. Let's do it. Right, so before we start the game, during the interview, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about or you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Okay.
Amazing. First question is, what do you consider most romantic?
What do I consider most romantic?
Yeah.
For me, it's something like being in nature. So I'm not like I would say at this stage in my life, I'm single now, and I'm looking for someone that I can have deep and meaningful conversations with, but also I think someone that's open to sort of the magic of the universe and nature. And for me, a romantic thing would be like log cabin, fire in the where it's in the woods, or maybe it's somewhere in a hotter country, but and actually just drinking cacao and talking about under the stars and talking about things and having really deep, meaningful conversations. I think I've had various partners, and I think what I've realized over time is I really want that sort of soul level connection, and I'm really looking for sort of to be able to have deep conversations. Like I think it's important. I'm not saying that the person that I end up with needs to be spiritual, but I think they
Mm-hmm.
need to at least have an open mind and be willing to sort of explore and talk about things like the universe and like deep topics, like where we come from, why are we here, like, do you believe in the paranormal? Are there aliens? These sort of things. I enjoy talking about these sort of things. I'm not just all going to the gym, taking care of myself, and eating well. And I'm very much about that and meditation and stuff as well. So
I get your point. I think it's amazing for us to connect with someone who, share the same interests. So sometimes maybe, share something new, that's something exciting, something very that they never got into it before, and talk to someone openly about sharing ideas, sharing some, meanings. I think it's amazing. I think it's a good plus for sure. Besides,
yeah,
tell me the very first time when love hits you that you felt like, oh my God, now I know what the meaning of love.
the very first time.
Yeah.
Well, wow, it's hard to remember because I've had a few partners. The very first time.
That went like, oh my God, just butterfly feeling that went like, wow, now I understand. Even could be a heartbroken as well. Could be a situation that went
Yeah, I
like,
think it's probably more the the. I'm not sure about butterfly feeling, but certainly like like the feeling of when you're excited to see somebody. So
yeah,
like maybe you haven't seen someone for a few weeks, then you maybe get a mixture of like nervousness, but also excitement about seeing somebody.
I see.
Uh,
Okay,
but yeah, I can't think of a specific right now. Sorry.
okay. Next question. Okay, Christian. Next question is, what's your idea? No, sorry. What's your idea of a perfect day?
A perfect day.
Yeah,
A perfect day for me is to wake up at a reasonable time because I've slept really well, which doesn't always necessarily happen because I don't always necessarily go to bed early and I don't always necessarily sleep well. But if I wake up feeling great, I've had a good night's sleep and I'm up early, is to start my morning practice quite early, get my stretches in front of my red light, do my meditation, have my amazing feel good beverage, and then from there move into some movement, like maybe go out for a walk or go for some exercise. And then I think if I had the time, the free time is to have some relaxed time. So maybe that's to swim or to go in the sauna or something like that to see friends. And I think have some good food. And then in the evening, I really like ecstatic dance. I've not really had the opportunity to do it in the UK. But when I was in India and when I was in Bali, I used to go to ecstatic dance. I used to really enjoy that.
do you meditate every day?
Say again?
Do you do meditation every day?
Yeah, I meditate every single day. Yeah, sometimes twice. Sometimes I do like a manifestation style one in the evening, but the morning one's more about clearing my head and sort of just uh, clearing my chakras and energizing my body. I guess you describe it as.
What's the biggest joy of being Christian? What do you like the most about being you?
I think at this stage is probably just living the life I want to lead. At the moment, I can't say that, oh, I've got loads of money rolling in and it's all proven to be a success, you know. I'm very much at the early stages of it, but I have a good feeling about it and I'm very much surrendered to the process. I think I've gone through so many versions of myself, you know, but I think the latest version now is I'm very much sort of assured of myself. And you know what, whatever happens, I know I'm going to be fine. And that's the kind of, it's that complete surrendering to the process of, you know, I just trust that things will work out for me. And I'm not sure quite which route I'll go down. Will it be that the product sells loads and I start more products? Will it be that I write more books? Will it be that I do more coaching? Will I start wellness retreats? I've got all these great ideas of things I want to do and build from, but I'm not sure how the direction of travel is. But yeah, I can see for me that things are going to be good.
And I like that. I like those places that, when you are in this place where those opportunities gonna somehow
Yeah,
guide you. We're gonna get there. They're all in there. They're all like, okay, you know
I
what?
just it's attracting them to you, and
Yes,
just trust in the universe that
absolutely.
things come from putting yourself out there. You know.
Yeah, trust in the process, and also, as you said, you just need to give the first step. And sometimes when you give the first step, ideas start come, and that's how you guide yourself. And life put us in place that you never was expecting before. Maybe we thought that we didn't follow this path, and suddenly just gets things going the right path.
Yeah, I mean, if you'd said to me sort of 2 years ago, when I was working like in a corporate setting, driving up and down the motorway, that I was at that point going traveling was something that I kind of was having a dispute with myself about. It was like, you've always said you will, yeah, but you're in a good job, don't leave a good job. You know, my mother always said, never leave a job until you've got another job and all this sort of stuff going through my mind. I was like, no, I'm going to stick to, I feel like my soul was calling me to travel the world. Like, at that stage I would have been 39 and I was like I've been on a few holidays but I've never actually like traveled and to go to India by myself was a big thing, you know, and I wanted to do that. And then since then it was kind of always I thought that after that I'd probably just go back to a corporate setting again, but then it was like, no, I'm not going back to a corporate setting anymore. This is my new life now. I know work needs to work around my life and my well-being. And as much as I didn't hate my career, you know, it wasn't like I hated my job,
I
but I
know
just
it.
felt like now this is the new me and I'm vibrating a different frequency now.
Amazing. Next question. Let's do it. Okay, before the next question, the beginning of the interview, you open up very open about the situation. You had cancer at 23,
Yes.
which, my God, you're describing your journey. I was like, my God, what a place to be, challenge, and so young, and my God, two questions in one. The first part of the question is, tell me a positive. No, since you went through since the beginning when you find out the news until when you're completely cleared, tell me a positive, thing that situation taught you that you feel very grateful for this challenging time. And the other part of the question is, knowing the person you are today, where you are today, when you look back, do you think that that situation meant to happen to you?
Oof. So I think the first point was what's the positive take from it? I think the
Yeah.
positive is what you I think you it kind of I'm going to kind of answer both questions in one
Hmm.
answer in a way, which is I think you things only happen to you that you're ready for. I think that's a learning. So yes, it happened to me, but I feel like I was, as strange as it sounds, I was ready for it. And I didn't sort of let it get to me. Yes, everyone around me was falling apart. There were people, you know, my family uh, were in bits, but I actually didn't cry until I got told I was better, you know. So I didn't really like, it wasn't like I was living in hospital sobbing all the time, you know. I felt like, you know what, this is a story. This is part of the story of my life. And in fact, it's made my life really interesting. You know, it's like when I tell people that I was given a rare cancer and nearly died and survived it. It's an interesting story. I don't go around telling everyone like, oh, by the way, this is this. But if someone asks about it, like you know, what's happened in my life, then it's it has sort of built me as a character and made me stronger. And then as I've had to go through other grieving processes, you know, like so only a few years after that, my I lost my grandfather to cancer, and then the year after that, my father to cancer. So although I survived, I guess my grandfather, you could say, well, he was an old guy, you'd expect him to die. But my dad, not so much. So I think me having lost, I think making me stronger, sorry, it's helped me deal with losing my father, which has then sort of been at least helpful for me to, I guess, not have it affect me in the way that it perhaps has other family members, I guess, because maybe I'm more resilient. I don't know. It's either that or the fact that I became spiritual and that supported me throughout. So.
I'm back in Brazil. I'm originally from Brazil, and I remember there is, growing up, I remember like someone telling me, I think it was my mom or my grandmother, I don't remember. They told me that, the most difficult battles are given to the strongest ones, the strongest people.
Yeah. Okay.
Remember that, and always that I kept in my mind because it's true, as you said, it makes no sense. Somehow, even though you're so young, and oh my God, I think no one is prepared to receive those news. And suddenly, as you said, you never cried. Somehow, deep inside, you knew it, that you go for it and you battle and you know what I mean, finish in a positive way. Amazing. Talking about family, so tell me, who in your family you'd trade place with and why? Let's say for a day, just to see how they live their
My
life.
family.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a really good question. I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, I am my own person. I'm quite happy with my situation. So I think that if it was just for a day as an experience, I guess you're saying like
For a day, yeah.
you're not asking me, do you want to swap? I think as a day, maybe I'll try out being my cousin or something. I actually, when I was younger, so my early roles before I ended up doing what I did was sort of, I did a lot to do with like working in letting agencies and stuff like that. My cousin actually runs a letting agency with his sister. So I guess
Okay.
either of them, I'd be interested to do that for the day, just because actually it's a former career of mine and something I know I was good at, and I think I'd be quite good at it, you know. But I took a different path in the end. But it's that would be interesting for sure. But also, if I can pick people that aren't around anymore, I would have picked my granddad because my granddad was a successful entrepreneur, had many businesses, and if I could sort of experience his life when he was younger, I think that would have been a really interesting perspective. You know, obviously he did many things, including at one stage he was a bomb disposal in the army. So, you know, he had to cut the red wire or the blue wire, and that must have been quite a stressful experience. So I think I would like to experience maybe my granddad's life or my cousin's life.
Tell me a person in your life, a friend or maybe a family member that when you're feeling the lowest, this person comes to your mind for you to open up or to share or to talk a little bit about it. And the same person, when you're feeling the greatest, you go like, oh my God, I need to share this news with this person. So tell me which one comes to your mind.
I've got a couple of friends, but Ella, my friend here in Leicester, is probably the person I'm most likely to go to. I
Okay.
also have another girl mate called Alex, and she's uh, moved to Bali for many years, so we don't talk all the time, but you know when we do talk, it's always valuable. And yeah, I would keep stuff up to date with her because she actually does Kundalini activations now, and she did my first Kundalini activation on
Wow.
me, which kind of since then made me even more spiritual and very much more connected with energy. So I
Wow.
kind of feel like we have an energetic link. Like we were always our grandparents were friends, our parents knew each other, and then we met randomly at a house party one time, and was like, "Oh, are you so and so?" and became friends from there. And then
Wow.
years later, when I was in Bali, she then offered to do a Kundalini activation on me, and then I did it, and then ever since then, I felt even different still. So without necessarily going into it too much on this channel, but yeah, really, I would say Alex, but also Ella's my day-to-day person here that I would go to.
Okay, so Ella is watching this interview right now, and you have a moment, an opportunity to send her a message. What would you say? She's watching.
I would say, Ella, I love you so much. Thank you for always being there for me. We have so much in common. We really vibe together. And yeah, she's like me. She's very spiritual and very, if I see her, she'll always bring around her tarot cards and say, let's talk to the tarot. And I'll be like, we only did it last week. It's too soon. We need to leave it longer. You can't just ask stuff every week.
Oh, I love
So,
it.
yeah.
Amazing. 3 questions left. Let's do it. Okay, Christian from England. I think this one's going to be very easy for you. What is the most difficult thing have you ever done?
Yeah, I would say probably cancer would be the most difficult thing I've done. Yeah, I would say so because it was not like a day thing. It went on for a long time. You have the
Yeah.
process of where it first like this big massive lump was on my neck to then some
Wow.
surgery to then some chemotherapy to then the recovery and waiting to find out if it worked or not. So, that whole process end to end was like 6 months really. So it was, wonderful to get told that you'd survived it, but at the same extent, it was yeah, it's some parts of it I've probably blocked out and can't even remember, to be fair.
As you mentioned before, and now as well, saying that through the whole process you were very positive, you knew that you'd battle, but there was a moment when you look back that for you maybe you felt like without any beliefs or energy, you're drained because was too much happening at the same time, or not. Through the whole process, you never had like you know a time or a day or a moment that you felt like, okay, I think it's
During
difficult
the
now.
cancer process,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
there was one time when there was one time when I just got so sick of the treatment that I tried to like escape the hospital. So
really.
I was just like, I can't deal with this anymore. Like,
Wow.
so I actually just like walked out the ward. The thing is I was just in like pajamas. It was snowing outside. It's a big hospital, so I think in the end I just sort of got like walked up to like the other end of the hospital, looked out the window, and was just like, what am I doing? Like, I'm not going to survive out there. Just no bank cards, no, just walking out into this, like with my pajamas on, like when I've got cancer and like a compromised immune system from the treatment. So in the end, like the nurses found me and took me back in. But yeah, I was just upset and wanted to get away from my situation, but I discovered that I just had to accept it.
Wow. Saying that, what's the meaning of life for you, Christian, when you think about life?
I think the meaning from life for me is I don't think there necessarily is a big meaning, but I think it's about progressing and learning. Um, does everyone have a purpose? I feel like maybe everyone has a purpose, and maybe it's about aligning to what your true purpose is. But I think for me, it's about just learning. I really love learning. So I'm kind of like, if you could say I'm going to pay you X amount a year just to learn, I would love that job. I would love that job. I love learning. I love reading. I love learning about things. But I think, yeah, I like to believe. I do believe that after this there is more. Maybe more. We get reincarnated or something else happens. That's my belief system. So for me, there is a point to it, and I do believe in karma. And I think what goes around comes around, and how you act and what you put out into this world is sort of not only your legacy, but the vibration of what you attract to you. And so, yeah, I try and live my life in a positive way. And I think most people would say that they rarely see me sort of any other emotion than quite happy. And I very rarely get fazed by things. So I don't get stressed very often at all, really.
And what will be the title of your memoir?
Oh wow, you really put me on the spot here. I'm not. I think I'd need more time to think about that. Let me try and think of something quickly. The feel good guy, because that's what I'm known as now. The feel good guy, seven versions of me. But I would just talk about like different like characters that I've played because I feel like you go through before you kind of start to move into your authentic self, you go
Mhm.
through certain things where you be a certain people, a certain person to certain people, So I would go hang out in this place, and I'd be like, "This is the people I know." So I'd play this version of myself. In the corporate setting, I'd play this version of myself. In another setting, like I'd play where I'd go raving with my friends, like I'd play a different version of myself. But actually, I think now I'm kind of grounding into one version of myself.
Beautiful. Love it. Two questions left. Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay, before the next question, tell me, since you start, you had the idea to put your product that's just showed now, I made a note here, the feel good dot
Feel good
polish.
polys, yeah, with our
Yeah,
launch name, Sweet Awakenings.
what was the most enjoyable part of the process and what was the most challenging part since for you to get in your hands?
I think the most enjoyable part of the process was actually doing the taste testing and thinking, yeah, this tastes nice, because you can conceptualize these things and be like, well, this is good for you, and this will. But then until it actually comes to the taste testing, so when we first taste tested, I was like, oh no, and then we play around with different ingredients. My very first variation had like olive oil seed extract in it, for example, and stuff which on paper sounded great, but actually it didn't work with the blend. So we had to play around with the different values and different measurements of ingredients, and in the end, to leave and be like, do you know what, that tastes good. And I was
Hmm.
like, actually, I've made something that's good for you, and it tastes good. So that's that's a great start. And then the hardest thing is definitely been the marketing because I'm somebody that's worked in a corporate setting, but when it's come to marketing, we've always had a marketing department I could go talk to, So
Yeah.
having spent so much time now trying to understand Meta, Google AdWords. At some point, I'm not on TikTok yet, but at some point soon, I'll be going to TikTok. So there's lots of stuff to understand from a marketing perspective, which I'm still learning, and it's very much sort of learning on the job, really. But I think the passion will get me through.
Yes, if I think if I were you, I would get on TikTok the quickest you can because TikTok, I think it's taking over all the social media. I
Yeah,
think, for example, I'm not. I just actually when I just opened up my account because of the show because
yeah,
I was more focused on Instagram and
yeah.
suddenly people start saying about TikTok. I said, you know what? Let me get into, and I can see, it's a place where it's just people they just talk about TikTok everywhere. So yeah. Next question for you is: what are the top three things on your bucket list?
To go to South America.
Okay,
Yeah, so obviously I've been traveling around Southeast Asia and India, but I haven't had the opportunity to go to South America. And for
okay.
me, I have a sort of plan, which is to exit the UK in 2027. So I would like to get to the point where I can then start doing wellness events, and whilst also, continuing for the product to be sold online. But I really want to go to South America, partly because I need to work out where in the world I want to settle. So up until now, it's like Koh Samui in Thailand, or sorry, the cat's just scratching around. Can I just get the cat out?
Of
Yeah,
course.
so I really want to go traveling to South America because I want to work out where I settle. I sort of have an exit plan to leave the UK for maybe 10 or 15 years to spend some time living in other locations. I think I'll probably still come back eventually to retire here, to support looking after my mother, etc. But I really want to spend some time in South America just to work out actually, is it Thailand or Bali I want to live, or actually would I rather live in Costa Rica, for example, or other places? So certainly places that have got a spiritual vibe, but I want to explore South America and work out where it is that I want to live. So that'd be number one. Number two, I would really like to do some more retreats and stuff. So I think some sort of spiritual retreat, whether that's to go somewhere in India or Bali. For example, there's the Isha Yoga Center in India. They've also just opened one in America, which is run by the Isha Center, which is Sadhguru. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he's like a spiritual teacher. I would love to go and do that course. So that could be another one. And then the third thing on my bucket list, I would like to climb a mountain. Yeah, I would like to climb a mountain. I've never yet climbed a mountain, so I would like to climb a mountain.
Which one do you think is going to happen first between three of those?
Probably explore South America, I think,
Yeah,
first, yeah.
amazing. Last question, ready?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do it. Last question. Okay, but before the last question, you mentioned, about spirituality, how, somehow came into your life and you embrace it and you felt no more about yourself, about your surrounding, about everything. What is being spiritual for you?
I think being spiritual for me is believing in something else outside of this sort of realm of what we can see,
Mhm.
or what we've perhaps been taught. And being spiritual to me means there is like a hidden energy that runs through everything. So you could call that as consciousness, or you could call that as chi, or you could call it as ether. There's so many different things for you might call it in Christianity spirit, you know, but there's so many, or prana in Indian, in sort of Indian culture. So for me, it's about an energy that runs through everything and everything is connected. So I believe that everything is connected. It's like an invisible field of energy that connects everything. And to me, spirituality is sort of understanding there's more to what we see.
Totally. Last question for you is, who is your biggest hero?
I would say at the moment it's probably someone like Sadhguru. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Sadhguru, I would say, who's just I just really enjoy listening to what he has to say, and
Mhm.
his little clips on. I watch a lot of his clips on YouTube, and it sort of grounds me, and it's nice. He's got a nice philosophy. I've read some of his books as well. There's a few others that I like. There's a guy called Michael Singer, who I really enjoy some of his books as well, and Ram Dass, and yeah, it's yeah.
Okay, those three you just mentioned right now, the three names, yeah? I'm gonna put you on the spot now. One day, you're gonna wake up in the morning having three missed calls on your phone from those three you just mentioned right now. Which one you gonna call back straight away? Which one you gonna send a message? I'll call you back later. And the third one, you don't call back, don't send a message, just ignore him for now.
Well, Ram Dass, I would
Let's
probably go.
pretend, let's pretend they're still with us, all of them, okay? They're still here with us. Let's pretend.
Okay, I was going to say Ram Dass is dead, so maybe
That's
I would
what
be
I'm,
scared,
yeah.
so I wouldn't contact him.
So they're always still here with us still, and they're watching this interview as well.
Okay, so what it was? Who would I call?
Back straight away.
I think I would call back Sadhguru straight away. Yeah.
Okay. And which one you send a message? I'll call you back later. And the third one, you just ignore him for now.
Oh, that's so hard. I'd, oh, I think I would call. I would say to Michael Singer, I'll call you later. And Ram Dass, I wouldn't call back, but because also I think that they're all so practicing in surrender that none of them would be bothered. It doesn't matter any of those three. If they didn't get a call from me, it doesn't matter because they would still know. Sadhguru would know energetically that I still like him.
And he knew that also the question was come from me, so he knew, oh, well, I didn't mean it, so it's fine. Right, so it's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game, okay? I'm going to say some
Okay.
words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick
Okay.
thinking. Let's start with money.
Power. I don't know why that comes to my mind, but that is. I think it's in a song, so that's why it comes to my mind. But
One word
energy,
for,
mm,
okay? Fear.
unnecessary.
Family.
Love,
Life.
difficult, but interesting.
Love.
Complicated.
Religion.
Complicated.
I'm scared to say the next one now because I have a feeling I'm gonna say complicated again. Let's see. One word for sex.
Enjoyable.
Phil. That's what you say. Politics.
uh, Annoying.
Friendship.
Amazing.
Desire.
Mostly good.
I like this mostly good. Regret.
Unnecessary.
Success.
Amazing.
Wish.
Wish is into wish for something.
Wish, yeah.
Good.
Happiness.
Obligatory.
One word for England.
One word. Interesting.
One word for Leicester.
Home.
One word for wellness coach.
Inspiring.
And the last one now, feels good. Police. One word.
New.
Amazing. Let's pretend I'm going to meet your best friend, the one you mentioned at the beginning of the interview, for a coffee, and I'm going to ask her. Define Kristian in one positive and one negative word only. What should say about you?
Positive, I think should say I was engaging,
Okay.
maybe. Negative, I don't know, something like talking too much or something like this, maybe. I don't know how you describe that in one word, but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Let's play now, Kristian, in the magic box, and you can ask me a question. But before you ask me the question, people watching this interview, maybe there's someone facing a situation that you felt at 23 when you find out about you had cancer, or maybe they know someone who just find out and they are going through a situation that they are a bit lost or sad. What would be your best piece of advice for those people?
I think surrender and just trust in the universe and have a positive outlook. Because I think so if I was the person going through it, I think the most important thing is to believe and not believe, but know that you're going to get better.
Wow.
Obviously, it's a slightly different situation, maybe if you've been told it's terminal, but even with terminal people, sometimes there's miracles that happen. So
Absolutely
I would sort of believe and surrender to the process.
amazing. Okay, Kristian, you can ask me a question now.
Okay, yeah. So, what was your favorite subject at school or in education?
Great question, great question. And you know, okay, I'm gonna answer this question in two parts. The first part is Portuguese grammar. I love Portuguese grammar back in school. And I think because I love my teacher as well, and it was a big plus for me because I was so passionate about the language and I was so into it, and she could feel it how much how I wanted, like how badly I wanted to learn. You're saying about learning, I always being like
Mm, mm,
curious and fascinated about learning as well.
yeah.
And when I was 12 year old, I had a scholarship to study in a private English school, English language. And my mom, because my mom was a housekeeper in this lady's, she became a friend now. She's a lovely teacher, and she was the owner of this private school. And
Okay.
she gave me the scholarship because I was so
Oh,
passionate
amazing.
about the
Oh,
English language.
wow. Hmm.
So I felt so, I remember like, look, because of that, as a teenager, my dream at the time was to live in a country where I could speak English every single day. Guess what? I live a dream because I live in a country where I can speak English every day. So yes, those I wouldn't answer those two ways because the first one for sure. But saying that Portuguese grammar was my because maybe I was very connected with, but again, other subjects I was as well fascinated, and I some of them I wasn't the best. I wasn't very not that interested, but I just loved it.
Yeah.
Biology. I was so curious about biology, about some topics. But Portuguese grammar was my favorite one, like straight away that I got connected with. Until when I turned 12, English language came into my life, and I was like, oh my lords, I want to badly to learn this language because I just fell in love. And so yeah, I would. That's my answer for you.
Very good.
Did you enjoy the interview?
Yeah, it'd be great. Yeah, it's been interesting. Yeah.
Thanks again, Kristian. Thanks for being so kind and accepting the invitation. Again, thanks again for open as well. Talk so open about your event in life in the past. That is very inspiring. And I think people watch this interview right now, they would appreciate because, as you know, you never know who is facing a similar situation and see someone, talking so open about it. And you are in a place where, you are feeling the best of your life. You're living, you just open a business now. You are connect with yourself more than ever. And I think it's very inspiring to see that. So thanks again for being so open and talk about your events in life, for sure.
That's all right. Thank you.
Before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
Yeah, so I was thinking, for me, 'cause I actually mentioned this quote in my book,
Mm-hmm.
and it's basically it comes from like Taoism, or it's like sort of from the Zen Chinese philosophy, and it's quite it made me sort of laugh about it really because it's kind of like the first time I heard it, I just thought this is so cool but so funny at the same time. And it's quite a simple quote, but it's basically the way they refer to life is they kind of, or their way of sort of traversing through life is the great way.
Uh-huh.
And they call and the quote is the great way is easy if you have no preferences. And that made me laugh. And the reason why is because that is the human condition right there. It's like we all have preferences. And of course, life is easy if we don't care what happens. And as I said to you, a couple of times during this interview, I'm all about practicing surrender and surrendering to the outcome. And yeah, that gives me some comfort really. I'm not there yet, because trust me, still some things do bother me. But I think I'm progressing towards that point, but I would love to be in a point where one day, no matter what happens, it just washes over, And yeah, the great way is easy if you have no preferences.
Beautiful. I love, for sure.
Nice to meet
Thanks
you.
again. You
Take
too.
care.
Nice to meet you and have a great day. Take
You
care.
too.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye. Cheers. Bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye. See you next time.